So what are the outcomes that you have in mind for your lesson?
Well, the students that I'm working with have a fluency goal and a comprehension goal. So I really want to enforce those goals through some predictable text. I also want to cover some historical content. So I'm going to use a historical narrative nonfiction piece that's written in prose to work on both of those goals.
Mm-hmm. Neat. So as you see that in lesson unfolding, what will your students be doing?
Well, first I want to just show them the text, specifically the illustrations, because that's going to throw them off. They are illustrated, not photographs,
Right.
and so they're going to think it's a narrative or a fictional piece. But when they see that it's about Christopher Columbus, I'm hoping that changes their thinking, and then we can talk about how it's a narrative nonfiction text. After we talk about that, I really want to point out how the words are arranged. They're written in almost like a poem in prose, and every other line rhymes, which is going to be a helpful function for these students. But some of the phrases, there's a few of them that are tricky in that they switch the order of how they would normally be written in order to rhyme, so I want to talk about that. And then the last thing I want to do before we begin reading is point out some tricky vocabulary like compass, words that I'm just thinking that they may not be familiar with, but maybe they will, just using some context clues and decoding to figure those words out before they begin reading. After we do those three things, then I'm going to have the students read independently, and I'm just going to pop in. We're not going to do choral reading. They all read at quite different paces. So I'm going to pop in with them and coach individually with each of them, and then at the end bring it back together and talk about the purpose that I said at the beginning for comprehension is what did Christopher Columbus discover on his journey. They're going to be reading to think about that.
Good. What will you see students doing or hearing them say that will indicate that your lesson was successful?
Well, as I pop in with them, I'm hoping that I hear a lot of just fluent reading. Some of the words are tricky, but if they can get the word before, then they can probably get the word that comes after because it rhymes. So I'm hoping to see that. I'm hoping that in our discussion afterwards, they can identify some of the things that Christopher Columbus discovered. And just, the overall fluent reading is what I'm really hoping to get from this.
What do you want me to look for and give you feedback on?
Well, I want you to look and see if I'm scaffolding enough or maybe too much. Sometimes I have a control issue and I'm wanting to kind of be everywhere and making sure they're allowed to manipulate the text. That I'm not giving too many cues, but instead giving them the tools they need to problem solve.
I can do that.
All right. Thank you.